We don't have really much else to talk about. Did you guys ever play Breath of the Wild back in the day? That was my segue.
I'm almost 100 hours into the game.
You gave it a 10 out of 10.
Gave it a 10 out of 10, and I almost punched everything.
D.S. Brown.
It's the second 10 I've ever given, and I think it.
What was the first one?
Metal Gear Solid 5.
Shadow of Mordor? Yeah, Metal Gear Solid 5, which you seem to like a certain kind of game a lot. Open world, emergent gameplay.
You know, it's weird. I feel like that's like kind of the thing I review the most now because I somehow like to self-sacrifice in the name of my work. But, you know, it's weird. Like those two games, you can't really compare them, but you kind of can in a way. And I think it's because one of the things that just makes Zelda so special, and I think is leading into what we're going to talk about, is just the myriad ways that you can tackle any situation, whether it's just simply movement or it's like dealing with combat or puzzle solving. And Metal Gear had a lot of that as well, but there are so many more rules and options at play in Zelda, even though on the surface it looks like a far simpler game, right?
Yeah.
Like in Metal Gear, you're just scrolling through, okay, how many weapons do I have? Like these different vantage points, like, okay, you know, troops, doesn't matter. Zelda is by far the more complex game. But it's because you don't feel the weight of that complexity that it's so nice and so refreshing and innovative. And for me, certainly makes me think about how I'm scoring games now differently.
Yeah, maybe it's the art style, or maybe it is the sense of calm you get in some parts of this Hyrule, but it really does seem simple at sometimes. But then, yeah, you see stuff like this, hitting a bee's nest to drive these guys out so you can go get their weapons so they can't pick them up, so you can attack them much easier.
Those bees are going to chase you too.
Yeah.
Better have some fire to get rid of them.
Is that how you get rid of them?
That's how I get rid of them. Because there's no right way to play.
Right. That's what I want to talk about today, is kind of how seemingly every single person that is talking about this game that I've talked to, of like the 25 people, is having a vastly different experience right from the beginning. You start off on, you know, I don't know how... That's the thing with this game, spoilers aren't really narrative spoilers. I mean, there are, but this game, it's tough to talk about all the things you're seeing because you don't want... The best part is how you stumble upon these things, but
I can't bring myself to tweet about this game because I feel like even showcasing a weapon that someone hasn't found. You know, I find it 80 hours into the game. I could have found it a lot earlier, but I don't know when people are finding these things. So I don't want to rob anyone even of the, you know, existence of certain things.
It's interesting how, again, like not linear it is. You know, the other day I think you and I were chatting like, oh, did you go to Kakariko Village? Like, yes. Okay, well, then you must have seen this along the way because there's only one path to actually go, right? However, but you can...
I think it was going to the Goron City. You were trying to tell me where the mines were.
That's what
I was like, I'm at the North Mine. You're like, no, the South Mine. I'm like, that's not on my map. What do you mean the South Mine? And it's on the main road.
Right, and then you realize, you know, it's just like it's like an exponential factor, right? Like the more you play, the more you have just created your own path.
Yeah.
So you come to terms where you're like, oh, I must have paraglided from here. And it's just, there are so many ways to get to said area, and that's where like the early hours are so different because I was, you know, rock climbing a mountain because, you know what, I felt like rock climbing. Well, someone maybe wanted to hit a shrine on the right side of the map. Like that's the early aspect of it that is just so different for everyone.
Yeah, and one of the earlier things they were talking about in this game is kind of how it was following in the footsteps of A Link Between Worlds, and that you don't have to do dungeons in a set order, right? There are 4 major dungeons in this game, structurally speaking, but then there are also, like, how many shrines are there?
116,
Oh, fuck.
I think.
8. I'm so sorry. Yeah. This game is huge.
And I've done 47 now at 100 hours. Yeah.
Yeah. I went, you know, like right to the Zora, the Lanayru province, right, to do my first Divine Beast, and every time I go to sit down to play the game, I'm thinking, oh, there's a shrine nearby, I should do that, or I should go get this armor, which a friend told me was in this region, or I should do this. But then I discovered something new, and it pulls me off the beaten path in a way but it's not overwhelming, and it takes a while to try to, like, I couldn't put my finger on it for a while, why I love it so much, but this game, you're constantly thinking, right? I mean, we talk about how Horizon Zero Dawn just released, and that's a great open world game. But Zelda kind of like rewrites the rules of what it means to be a good open world game, right? I go back to Horizon, I'm actually kind of bored moving between points. I see an objective marker, and the world is gorgeous, and I'm moving through this jungle, and then it's a desert, and I'm fighting these really cool robot dinosaurs, but I'm not thinking the entire time like I am in Zelda. Zelda, you see a simple tree, and you're saying there could be apples on that would help me get through this next Bokoblin camp.
It's the mystery, and once you have an event that happens to you in this game where it is such a curveball blindside, like I can't believe this happened, that's when you
Oh, you get struck by lightning because you have a massive two-handed sword equipped.
that's when you don't feel overwhelmed, but that's when you are getting distracted because you see anything from a person walking down the path to, again, a tree with a rock slightly to the left. Like everything is so jam-packed and filled in this world that you just got to do it because you also feel like no one else has ever seen this.
Yeah, you're inundated with possibilities, and it goes back to this idea that I've probably said 1,000 times to you two, but this lack of control. You never, ever feel in control of the world. You never feel like you understand all of its rules or all of its possibilities, which is part and parcel of it being mysterious, right? And constantly having this sense of wonder. So yes, even like a simple mountain that you climb, right? Like it's, the elevation brings one thing, the weather brings another thing. Like what could be on top? Maybe there's treasure, right? But what's that in the distance once you get up there? Like there are things that happen like this in a lot of open world games, including something like Horizon, which I think is not a similar game, but it's the most recent, thing we can compare it to. But this game just manages to never relent with just making you wonder, like, what if?
And in comparison to Horizon, which again is an awesome game, to even Assassin's Creed games with icons littered on a map, generally there is a point where you know what you're gonna get from this guy. I don't need to take on this beast because you know what? I know what he's packing, so I'm just gonna move on. You're more inclined to move on from different situations.
Yeah.
But this game, I'm just constantly like sticking through, and then you die, and you're like, well, I'm coming back.
Yeah.
Because now it's like personal.
Yeah. Oh, I have a beef with this one character that I ran into. I won't spoil it, but could not. Maybe if I was much better at this game, I mean, it's a difficult game, but maybe I could have beaten him, but I'm coming back later once I have more armor and whatnot. But the survival mechanics and the difficulty both, I think, are integral to this world. They are integral to this world because the survival, like you have to, the wilderness is just as much an enemy. This sounds cliche, but Hyrule is an enemy too. But it can help you, but it can also like just destroy you, right? You can go into the tundra and it's too cold and you don't have warm enough clothes, or you haven't cooked something that can keep you warm. You can drown if you don't. I mean, it's not going to kill you. Go back to the bank, or could kill you. But if you run out of stamina, you could fall off a cliff, take falling damage. If it's raining, the rocks will be too slick for you to climb up.
The rain, I think,
reliably
is the worst in the best possible way. And it's, for me, it's one of the first games I think that like has actually brought the meaning of rain into full extent, opposed to any other game where it's like, oh, it's raining, things are a little wet.
Yeah.
This is like, one, it rains and it completely, I swear to God, damn it.
I'm a good boy.
Completely messes with everything.
puts out torches. Can't have a campfire. You can't cook.
You can't. You think, maybe I can just wait out the rain or speed it up with a campfire. Well, it's raining, dude. You're on a cliffside and it's raining and you slip and your stamina is at 0 and then there's a river below. You're dead.
Not to mention like lightning. If you're wearing metal armor, you get smoked.
Or you're carrying a metal bow, or you have anything metal on you.
But also, it's not so systematic where it's like, okay, well, I know I have to wait 5 minutes for the rain to pass. Mm-hmm. And you think it's gone. Mm-hmm. And then it comes back. And it's like 10, 15 minutes of just rain.
So we're getting yelled at for spoiling the weather factors. And it's...
What?
It's been popularized. You can...
Yes.
That's
But I think this is a perfect example of how everything in this game is so freaking fascinating that even the things that seem so basic to us, when we first found them, right, when you first discovered it, it's like, whoa.
Yeah.
It's hard to talk about this game without really spoiling it because it's unprecedented, I think, what it does.
Another cool thing is that you had played maybe 60 hours by the time
about
your review went
60s,
up.
yeah,
And
a
I
little bit over.
played half an hour and I saw a mechanic that you didn't even know about.
Not
And
a
then
clue.
Rob comes in the next day. He's like, when did you find this? I was like, that's a thing you can do? Like, I just found out something new last night again, that whether it's a mechanic or something related to survival or related to something that I didn't even stumble on because it was in this like cave that I didn't go into when I was more focused on going to Kakariko before I got pulled off the beaten path to some other shrine. There's a lot in this game, but none of it feels like it's just there for the sake of it. It feels like it's...
Well, I will counter your point. I think the Korok seeds those are clearly there for the sake of it. Like,
Oh.
yeah, on the top of a mountain, you know you're gonna find it. Like, that's the one thing to me that feels a little bit like obvious and contrived. You know, more than anything else.
But it's because they're just simply everywhere.
They're just simply everywhere, and every time you see something, you're like, okay, well, I know the developer like made this so that I would find this thing. Like, it's super clear what it is. It doesn't harm the game, but it's just that one thing where it's like, I wonder if that could have been different. But I don't care. I'll move on.
Yeah, because I don't want to spoil what those do, but like, that is the one thing that it seems like there's something there just to say, oh, we can fill up this gap in the map with one of these or something. I don't know.
It's a small way to reward like modest achievement.
Right, and it's luckily it's quick enough. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If it's sometimes
It's not
they're
imposing.
I guess occasionally there's some that are maybe longer, but for the most part, they're simple enough to just like easily knock out in like 10 seconds.
Hit it and quit it.
Yeah. Dude, just to like reiterate, before I got in here, I was talking with Tay, and that guy has only put in 6 hours, and he told me something that just blew my mind.
Yeah.
Blew my mind. I was like, how did you see this?
Was it the skeleton thing? Yeah.
Someone last night was saying something too. There's a lot in this game, and it never feels overwhelming, which is weird because a lot of times open world games, even with Horizon, which there's not like, I don't want to just say Zelda's great because there's so much to do. Like, I think we already touched on why I think it's all integral for the most part. But Horizon, it got overwhelming for some reason. There's not like half the things to do in that game and find out. But like, there's always some new mechanic in Zelda that encourages you for not just exploring the world itself, but exploring how the game works and connects you to that world, whether it's through the survival or the difficulty that everything seems. And I'm talking to people in this game more than I have in any other game in a long time because they have these like, this dad will be telling a ghost story to keep kids away from this certain spot, or this person will say, oh, yeah, I saw something up there, and I'll read this rune that said, oh, there's this hidden artifact up there that people used to talk about, but now it's like flooded, so you can't get there. And it won't tell you where it is. It'll say where it is, but it won't like put an objective point on your map. It's up to you to put the objective point through your Sheikah Slate scope, or
at best look at your map and be like, okay, the guy was talking about a body of water. What bodies of water are around here?
Yeah.
Crap, there's a bunch. Right? Which one's it going to be? And then you get there, and then you discover something else, and you're just like,
It's got a sense of geography and moving through it that I haven't felt in an open world game in a long time. I mean, you look at Grand Theft Auto 5, which I think is one of the better open world games, and that makes it feel like a real world that's lived in that you can explore, but still, there would be like 10-minute periods when I'm just driving across Los Santos and I'm turning my brain off. And Zelda, because of the survival or because of the fact that there's probably something pretty cool around the corner, I never stop thinking and I'm never disengaged. And I say never because I've played 25 hours at this point and I still haven't gotten bored. You've played 100 and you're still not bored?
not even close to bored.
Yeah.
And the fact alone that I'm not even halfway done with the shrines. And I look at my map and I'm like, I have never explored this huge area.
Yeah.
And there's a few of those. Like, I'm so happy to have a game that I already love and know that I will continue to love for the next few weeks.
Yeah.
If not months.
I have to cut us off because I feel like we could just talk about this forever. We'll probably find we have a ton of Zelda. I mean, did you want to add anything that we didn't say? I mean, I know you do, but
I love, for a game, obviously it's not like texture heavy or intense. It feels like all of that was put into like just the breathing nature and animations of like a Bokoblin camp. Like one of my favorite things I always say is like, I just love like looking at them. Mm-hmm. And it's like, I think we've tired this like comment, but it's like, 6 of them. And there's this one guy who's like, wah, 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 and it's like telling a story and everyone's like, yeah, totally, dude. And then one of them will just start dancing, and he's like, "Yeah, totally." And then it's a dance party, and then it's like, "Now I'm throwing a bomb in." Like wildlife, like it just feels so freaking good, just to like watch and observe, take photos. I never thought the first time they like showed Link like doing photos and selfies and stuff. It just feels so right. The charm fits in. I love this. God, like I filled up the album, and I was like, "Oh, great! I got to delete some of my favorites."
But you get to keep them if they're added to the compendium.
Yeah.
So you can go back there.
Yeah.
But just not pretty photos.
Right.
Yeah.
Man, I want to play this right now. So I guess we'll cut it off there, but I would invite you to share your Zelda stories in the comments, but obviously like try not to spoil anything, but like hit us up if you want on Twitter and let us know, like, but don't spoil anything. It's such a weird game.
I made the mistake of using Google to look up one thing yesterday for the first time, and I immediately regretted it.
Yeah.
It kind of sucked. It actually was the exact thing that I expected that would happen from the thing I was looking up. But to just even have that confirmed was like, damn it, I just robbed myself of this. Like, don't do it. Don't do it.
God, this is just so hard to talk about this game now. It's so great.
All right. Well, so that is the end of that segment and getting close to the end of our show. But let us know what you think about Zelda Breath of the Wild. How are you playing it? What are some of the directions you took when you left the early part of the game? Let us know without spoiling too much. Leave it in the comments. But again, try not to spoil too much. But yeah. Let us know what you think about Breath of the Wild. Pete gave it a 10 out of 10 on GameSpot. We have a ton of coverage up. We have guides if you're into that. If you don't want to discover certain things for yourself, or if you just want some things kind of more illuminated for you, we have some helpful guides up from a bunch of our editors. We also have something starting tomorrow that you two are excited about. Pete and Rob, it's called The Triforce. And I had Pete describe earlier. Rob, what are you guys going to be doing?
Oh, you're talking about it? Yeah.
On Thursdays, every Thursday, right?
That's the plan. I may have jury duty tomorrow, so we'll
The
see
first
how
episode?
that works. Yeah.
Figured out, but yeah, pitch the show.
Yeah, we're gonna play the game, and we're gonna add factors and difficulties. For instance, maybe we'll play naked, because apparently us both. Yes. Oh, yeah, of course, and Link. But we're gonna play the game differently, and throughout each episode, we're gonna spend a little time with physics. Maybe we'll go snowboarding. But the plan is by the end of each episode, we're going to make a run at Ganon.
With the rules that we've set.
The rules we set, and it's going to be fairly early game for the most part.
I mean, we're not going to spoil anything, but we're definitely going to have enough, equipment to give us enough variables to choose from.
Yeah.
Is this going to be a live stream and then archived, or is it all pre-recorded? Okay, cool. Yeah. And then this what time planned?
Tomorrow.
Thursdays?
Thursdays, 10:30 a.m.
10:30 a.m. Pacific time?
That's right.
So those watching in another, specifically time for those watching from in a different region.
Yeah, really excited for that.
Yeah. Pete, you know one thing that I don't think Breath of the Wild does? You can't become a painting and warp onto walls like you can in A Link Between Worlds, can you?
You mean like this, Mike?
Yeah, you're doing it. There we go. There's the original one.
There we go.
You thought I forgot about it, didn't you? Can you do that in Breath of the Wild? I don't think so.
Wow, you did it that many times?
You gave that game a 10 out of 10 when you can't even do this GD wall walk thing. Dude, I fall asleep at my house watching this sometimes. Yeah. I love that
really good.
I love that look at the end where your face is still doing it, but your body's not right.
You look slightly uncomfortable, but okay.
Oh, I think they're just looping it now.
Wow.
Yeah, there it is. Your face just stayed in it. Your face was still a painting on the wall. All right. I would say enough of that, but there's never enough of that.
Got to use that in the intro for the show, I think.
Just make the lobby intro that. All right, everybody. Yeah. So let us know what you think of Breath of the Wild. The Triforce starts tomorrow. We are streaming Overwatch at 1 today for International Women's Day. Chastity and Shiva will be playing Overwatch, playing as all the women characters, a lot of which in that game are badass. My favorite character, Ana, she's pretty sweet. I would say swear more, but Pete's giving me the stern eye. Again, we do have that giveaway. I'm going to have Rob model these quick. If you here, we have a Pixel Pals, Luigi, and then we have Toad and Peach amiibo. If you want to retweet GameSpot's tweet, Shiva did put in the chat earlier, but if you don't, just go to GameSpot's Twitter account. Follow GameSpot if you don't already. Retweet it, and later in the week we will pick a winner, and you could receive these as part of our. We have this Nick Margarita memorial library of limited edition toys and games and whatnot. So we're kind of just trying to empty it out by giving it to our fans. Yeah, later in the week, hopefully you will be a winner.
May Nick rest in peace.
Yes.
You said Nick Memorial Library.
Nick Margarita Memorial Library. That's what we call our vault.
So may he rest in peace.
Yes. May he rest in peace. Anyway, thanks again for joining. Stream at 1 p.m., so stick around. The Triforce starts tomorrow. Sunday, next episode of Reboot, show Jake Decker and I work on. It's kind of it's inspired by Danny O'Dwyer's The Point when he left. We want to do an opinion editorial show. I talk a lot about Breath of the Wild. It's pretty much about Breath of the Wild. Just wanted to pimp that. I won't talk too much more about it, but that'll be Sunday at 3 p.m. Yeah, check that out if you want to kind of look at Breath of the Wild even deeper. Thanks so much.
Spoilers on it?
No.
Good.
We made sure to keep that spoiler free. So if you haven't played, or if you're playing 100 hours and still don't want something spoiled, then still feel free to stop by and watch that. Anyway, everybody, thanks so much for joining, and we will see you next week on the lobby.